Hey, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to email if you haven't already. Do this at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. And if you are a new subscriber, look for the magazine coming up. You can get a free download as a new subscriber. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, you are a superstar. Oh my goodness. Resuming. Okay, great. Well, here we are. Yeah, Tiffany Smith, welcome to the Dear Business Coach podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Yeah, we are meeting today on a lovely Friday. And what a cozy background you have. Is that a real background?
Yes, it's so funny. I get this comment a lot. And I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of moved my monitor because I've been creating a photography mess over there. And I was like non-flattering little corner. But yeah, I I have kind of like a vision of this space of being a very calm and peaceful, like harmony place to come into so that I would be drawn to my work in this very peaceful, calming way. So that's why you see a lot of blues and but yeah, it's a real space and people ask me that a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, you got it, and it's so symmetrical that yeah, it could be a picture. Yeah. I'm actually experiencing some shadow. Anyway, well, you know what? I am highly fascinated with a little bit of your background, but what today I brought you to the podcast, and you came to the podcast, so that we could talk a little bit about your professional profile. And so tell me a little bit about the dreaded question, right? As if we're at a conference or something. Tell me about yourself. But how do you introduce yourself? Wow. So we are partnered. The Dear Business Coach podcast is now officially partnered with NordVPN. And you know what? Look out for the logo, some press releases, cool information. What in the heck is a VPN and how does it work? I'm really excited. I travel and now I know how to get the VPN security I need. So, Nord is now officially our affiliate partner. Look out for ways to support the show by going to the affiliate link I provide to you in your email and other places you can see it on the website. Thanks so much, NordVPN.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I was a student in art school, it was very, very encouraged to be prepared with an elevator speech. And I have failed so many times to prepare a, an elevator speech that feels truly authentic and genuine in the moment. And I also know that when we kind of start to describe ourselves, especially for passionate people and excited to share like our journey, we also kind of run into the rambling area too. So I kind of shorten it a little bit and describe myself as a disciplinary multimedia type of creative professional. I have a degree in graphic design and another degree in photography. I've been extremely lucky to merge those two disciplines throughout my career. Um, Going into my fourth year of living here in New York, I had this big shift. David Lynch is one of my favorite artists and directors and creators of all time. And just as like a person, he was just such an amazing example. Um, so when he passed not too long ago, um, I was kind of directed to go into the film industry. And so
Mm.
now I'm embarking on my ultimate creative pursuit, which is being someone that has such a big, amplified kind of design profile within the industry throughout my career. with photography being kind of a secondary discipline, I'm now going into like, oh, am I going to be a filmmaker now? So that's kind of where I am now. I was just attending a film networking event last night,
Mm.
and I had this question come up, and I kind of described it in the same way where I was like, well, when David Lynch passed, I am now going to go into the film industry. They were just like,
Yes.
cool.
Well, you know what? That's something that I think psychologists say about like when a parent dies, that you some for some people that becomes like a trick, either a trigger to do something or to stop doing something. And so that's interesting, this figure in your life artistically
Yeah,
triggered you.
totally. Yes, absolutely. I love that perspective and kind of clarity on that.
Mm,
I'm gonna kind of think of it in that realm. Like this,
mhm.
like he was like an energetic, figure for so many people.
Right, and I don't know if trigger's the right word to use. However, it could move something inside you, and
Yeah.
that's uh, a set that says a lot, I think, about where you've been wanting to go and needed a push. Maybe. Do you think that might be true?
100%.
Mm,
I had been in New York for a few years and I continued to kind of make myself kind of fit molds or make myself a little bit smaller within the creative industry. That could have come from like lack of confidence or just can I really do big things on my own or do I
mm,
need to kind of be more practical and safe with how I kind of play this, right? And there's just something about, trigger a shift when he passed away that was so directional for me where it was like, oh no, you're going into film. Like that's your authentic place.
wow. Okay. You know what? I also think you have some very so your photography and your graphic design, if just by glancing at some of the images that I've seen on your social profiles, I can see where you'd be a natural filmmaker. I mean, that's essentially the beginning art of cinematography, right? I used to think about that. What is it about filmmaking that's so fascinating? And there's so many. There's in front of the camera. There's behind the camera. Ultimately, a lot of what I think I'm looking at when I see something on film on screen that is so fascinating is the cinematography. And hello, what is the person who's running the camera called? A director of photography.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Photography is that I kind of had the same, I had almost the exact same thought process when I kind of clicked into that trigger or shift that kind of moved me into film. I had that same kind of process where I thought, well, but it's film. Like it's photography. I think I'm already kind of set up for this. It's not like I'm going into like accounting or something. Like I'm not totally changing into like a totally different like realm of everything.
Yeah, no, okay. So I'm highly curious, which you probably are equipped to share. What is it like to think about using your work as a someone who has a photography portfolio and graphic design? Can you transition that as someone who's entering the filmmaking scene? Do you find that, I guess maybe a better way to ask this would be, do you find that people around you in the professional world are receptive and see the blend? Can you give a photography profile or a photography portfolio to someone at a networking event and say, I'm moving into motion picture and here's my photography portfolio?
Absolutely. That is definitely a big question on my mind right now, especially in the beginning of this transition. And I've kind of, like had those conversations internally where I've kind of gone through if I'm asked this, how would I kind of answer in a way that's confident and kind of forward thinking movement in the direction of film without making it sound like I'm not knowing what I'm doing. And I've kind of gone through this kind of like mock conversation where I feel that because I have such a heavy experience in design, marketing, and brand, and even just like social campaigns and project
Mm,
management and all of these other things that are still needed in the film industry. Um, I feel
mm,
like there's a way where I can kind of leverage that a little bit to the degree that I kind of, I guess, maybe talk myself up, right? Where it's kind of like, hey, I'm a photographer and I'm currently creating these abstract film short pieces and I'm making the moves and I'm networking, and also it's not a bad thing that I have design experience because you need that too. Like that's kind of like my angle.
yes. Well, I hope that that is yeah, I hope that that is true. I hope that my wish of that is true. I think that there are definitely people that will see that, and are there enough of them to patch together us references to get job one, job two, job three? Probably. But yeah, talking, yeah, using the word, yeah, using the phrase talking up. Exactly. If you have that design experience, you can speak somebody else's language. Is that kind of helpful too? Vocabulary?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, entering any type of film production, whether it's a team of 5, 10, or a team of a couple of hundred people, I feel like I can kind of integrate myself within that space on a professional level in a way that I can kind of lend a hand in the spaces that I'm needed and kind of like be like my own cheerleader, right? Where it's kind of like, hey, if you just need a project manager, I have that experience. If you need someone to manage the social media accounts and campaign and put in some research time so that we're getting the best engagement out of the audience and growing an audience on top of that, let me do that. Like put
Mm,
me where I'm needed. I'm not picky. I just want to be involved. This is what I want to do.
mm.
So I hope that that kind of attitude moving forward and having those types of professional conversations will amplify kind of their perspective of me in terms of, hey, she's just kind of happy to like be in the space and like let's give her like something to do because she's just kind of excited to be like involved.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Right. Somebody will hand you a job or a clipboard or a prop or something because you're available and making eye contact.
Totally. Totally. Exactly. It's like, well, can you come into like a few of the meetings and just listen in and take notes? Sure.
Yeah, that would be one of my favorite things to do is listen like a fly on the wall. Have you had a chance to do some of that?
Not yet. I'm hoping. So I attended this film networking event last night, met some really, really great people, and we all decided to go to another film networking event later this evening. So
Mm,
it's kind of like, this is going to be interesting if this just kind of continues to go back to back. That, being in a city like New York, this could really work. Like I could maybe actually make some movement here, but that would be the next exciting step would be to share, hey, I'm actually in a production and I'm excited to start, working.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, you are probably onto something there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of people are afraid to go to networking events, or like you said, what do I say? Do I have my script down? And then to make it to another one the next night, that is not something that I think a lot of people would choose to do or make themselves do.
I totally agree. I completely agree. I see that perspective so like fully because that is totally that social anxiety. And before you attend the event, most of the people that are hosting the event are encouraging to be prepared with your business cards, your elevator speech, get ready to network. And that in itself is like, okay, I can do this. I can take a breath and take like one step at a time and hope that I'm not the person that is standing in the corner,
Mm,
you
mm-hmm.
know, feeling like, why isn't anyone talking to me, but they're all talking to each other? Should I just stand in the middle of the room and start waving at people? You don't always know what to do. And last night I was so fortunate to meet this group of people, and they were like, let's go to that event tomorrow and we're going to go together, and that's how we're going to support each other. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Otherwise, if last night it was a different type of conversation that was just kind of, hey, there's another event tomorrow night, maybe I'll see you there, I may have been a little bit more nervous about it.
Mm-hmm.
This was so supportive. So yeah.
Wow, I that's amazing. I wonder if you could tell me about the way in which you might see yourself giving some of your background to a film project. So let's say let's say I'd asked your support on a short or a documentary. What would you say? I mean, my personal background is on a podcast. I know how to select a few clips and put those out on reels. That's technically not any cost to me. I'm not paying for those directly. Other than my time, or if I pay somebody to do that. And that is all the world that I know about creating a social buzz around audio and video. Can you do that with a short film?
Wow! So we are partnered. The Dear Business Coach podcast is now officially partnered with NordVPN. And you know what? Look out for the logo, some press releases, cool information. What in the heck is a VPN and how does it work? I'm really excited. I travel and now I know how to get the VPN security I need. So, Nord is now officially our affiliate partner. Look out for ways to support the show by going to the affiliate link I provide to you in your email and other places you can see it on the website. Thanks so much, NordVPN.
That's kind of that those questions are also kind of swimming around in my mind, because I know you're totally like hitting the nail on the head when it comes to, these are the questions that are going to be thrown at me and I know they're coming. And I know I have to be prepared to answer them, because I know so many people are going to have those questions where it's like, but you haven't been working in the film industry. Like, do you really know what you're doing in this industry? And how are you going to help our film move forward and find an audience if you haven't done this before? You haven't worked in the film realm before. Why would we hire you or even pay you when someone else has been fighting for that space for so much longer, and
Mm,
they've been waiting for that opportunity, and they've already been studying film, social media, and you haven't even tried, like you haven't even done it yet.
mm,
Um, so I think my kind of game plan is create authentic relationships, stay true to myself, and stay genuine. Because as I'm creating these abstract short film pieces, that alone is an expression of how I want to create things in the world, creating the art that I want to see in the world on a level that I'm not necessarily um, trying to make it go viral.
mhm,
But it's coming from a very authentic creative place, and a very experimental one. So I'm hoping that that will give a little bit of encouragement when it comes to the people that I meet in the industry, where they can kind of see like, well, she kind of just wants to help out and get her foot in the door, and she is creating these short films. Maybe there's a place where she can like fit and kind of grow a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I have a background as a creative director and a marketing director. There's that avenue too, but at the same time, you don't want to be like the person who's like pigeonholed, like you're, oh, and just put her in marketing. And like, no, I don't want to be marketing. It's like
Right.
to figure out how to navigate those conversations realistically and practically, because they're going to need what they need.
Hmm.
It doesn't really necessarily mean that my feelings are going to be considered, right? It's
Hmm.
kind of like, we understand you want to be creative, but you have marketing experience, so we're gonna put you over there. you know?
Right.
So
I would be afraid of that too. Yeah, I would be afraid of that myself. Exactly. And I wonder too if you have if you have the interest in speaking to what is short film doing right now for us. What are we doing with short film? I recently had an interview with a guy who's a writer, and he had a talk at a conference about short form in writing, and I am fascinated about how short form, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I just have this old perception that is outdated, but I think that like short form is a thing now, right? We're still buying long form movies. We're still not long form, traditional length movies, but we're also kind of all over the place. We're purchasing movies that are really long. We're purchasing movies, and I'm talking about as a viewer, as a consumer. How do I watch movies, right? I look for things that are new releases and on paid streaming platforms, and so have Netflix and Prime and Hulu and HBO Max, and those are probably the top ones that I just have subscriptions to right now. So the thing that I'm curious about is how short form is actually um, a huge value right now, because I can come to you as a short form filmmaker and say, well, you know how to grab somebody's attention. You know how to put a story and images together in something that is digestible on the internet right now. Is However, when I was in school and thought about filmmaking and the industry around that, we're taught in short form but then told you can never do anything with it, and I just don't think that's true anymore. Can you just sort of make comment on what I just said there? Am I right? Am I wrong? Is there something to that?
that's really interesting that you bring up being a student and being told that short form creations didn't really have this big giant like attention grabbing kind of value. Um, and now we live in the world of TikTok and Reels, right? So it's kind of like that's definitely not the, I mean, you know, it's so funny because the algorithms are getting more and more advanced. And as they advance, whether you're on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever platform you prefer, those reels that are coming up that you're kind of just swiping through, they are essentially like little short films. I mean,
Mhm.
depending on, my cat just jumped on my lap.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um,
I have a puppy dog at my feet.
oh, oh my gosh, what kind of dog?
A King Charles. He's
Oh wow,
space
so
cat.
specific. Um, yeah, so it's funny because I find so many creators because they're creating these little shorts that just tell their story. It's kind of like filming or creating your elevator speech short and introduction to
Yeah.
the world, right? And so many people are now taking advantage, I think, of the social media spaces, not to necessarily be viewed as an influencer, but to be real, to be really raw, to be authentic, to be genuine, to be silly, to be their like goofy, weird selves that they want to share with people. And I just see that coming out more and more. So I hope that that means not necessarily that feature length films will completely go away. I don't think any of us want those to just disappear, but I definitely think that there's room for shorter kind of productions and creations, whether it's on a real, you know, what is it, like 5 second, 10 second, under a minute kind of space, or if it's something where we're starting to see little tiny short films on Netflix. But that's, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Um, I'm so curious about that world because right now the film industry is struggling with being able to afford larger productions. So shorts may be kind of the thing that kind of keeps everything afloat and keeps everyone creating and keeps everyone happy and in a space that they still love without having the pressure of the big budget films. Um, that's interesting though, because there are those films that come out that are kind of like spliced together, where it's like little short films kind of like butted up together to kind of create a full concept. Maybe those will come back. Maybe there'll be more collaboration. So I think maybe we're kind of like on the edge of something maybe interesting kind of taking place as people's attention spans kind of.
Yeah, I think I don't know that. Yeah, I think it's true that yes, our media attention spans are shorter, and then I think what in conversation we find, okay, well, we actually do crave the traditional form as well. So you have a grasp right now on what's movement for you, and by meeting folks and being in the center of it, you're also meeting other people like you met last night who are like-minded folks, and that sounds good to me. That sounds great. I want to ask you if what's kind of what is like networking in the film business like? Do you have a reference point, from say 5 years ago to, or stories that your elders elders in the industry have told you, what is like the pathway out of like a networking event, right? It's maybe like you said, to build relationships, um versus just hoping somebody remembers your business card at the end of the day. Like, what do you actually do, after a networking event, for example?
I love this question because as technology advances and as we continue to get these newer types of business cards, whether it's digital or yesterday I just looked at the physical digital card that you purchase and you kind of just like touch someone's phone with it and it,
Uh-huh.
it's over. Um, Technology is just moving so fast. So this question's great because like what do you do after? Because everything is moving in such a fast forward direction into like the future at the speed of light, and we don't really know what we're even supposed to be currently doing after attending a networking event. Um, I had the same thought last night because I had connected to a small group of people, and those conversations and those like just genuine connections were so encouraging, and I think we all just were so excited to just meet each other and give each other information. And there were business cards, physical business cards handed out. I myself was handing out some physical business cards. And then it turns into kind of like you hope that they really liked you enough that when you reach out later, they'll like say hi back. So
Yeah.
it kind of almost turns into that like grade school feeling where maybe you like try out for like a sports team and then you like leave for the day and you hope that everyone liked you enough to like come back.
Hmm.
I'm kind of left with a little bit of that kind of phantom like feeling right now. I have the exact same question. It's you have kind of like how you described as the like the elders of the industry that have had to kind of like put pencil to paper when networking maybe and like carrying around totally different types of materials that people just don't carry around anymore. They have such a different story and experience when it comes to networking. Past generations kind of had this more of like intimidation tactic or like wanting to be like the powerhouse in the room, wanting to show up with like the most expensive suit or like a nice watch or looking like someone that can be an investor. And that just isn't what I find in the current landscape of networking. I've watched people really just want to make true, solid, genuine connections with people. And at the same time, you're still handing over that business card. So there's this like it kind of breaks away that authentic connection when you're like, oh, I'm gonna like break this barrier of like beautiful conversation and connection we just made, and I'm gonna like hand you a business card. And I'm gonna bring it back to why I'm really here. So
Hmm.
this interesting kind of space to navigate because we all really just want to genuinely be friends with each other and connect. And at the same time, we want to get hired and we want to work together.
Right.
So
Yeah, if
it's
I'm tapping my phone to yours, it feels more like I'm sharing my call me later or something.
like, totally. And then you're like, I feel like I'm at like a speed meetup event, and you kind of see like I don't know if you ever experienced this, but you're at a networking event, you have a really great connection and conversation with someone, you're talking, 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 it's so natural. You're following each other on Instagram or LinkedIn, you're connecting, and then you kind of see them veer off and they have like the same conversation with someone else. And then you
Hmm.
wonder, like, interesting. You just like they're having the exact same conversation. Because everyone kind of wants to feel liked or special in some way. So networking events kind of make it kind of like a murky gray, a little bit of an area when we're all kind of like connecting to each other.
Yeah. No, that is, you're right. Yeah, that is right, right, right. If you are scripting it all the way through, somebody is going to notice that and also pick up that, oh, you ask everybody the same questions, and that's kind of
That's like your thing. Yeah.
Mm.
That's,
Well,
that's
good. Don't do that. I won't do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love like seeing the lesson in real time, like seeing that happen in front of you and just reminding yourself, mental note, I'm not going to do that. I'm not
Oh,
going to be
yeah.
that person. And then at the same time, I feel bad because it's like, well, what if that person just struggles socially and they have a different type of social anxiety and it keeps them kind of staying social if they kind of go by that script. So then you never know. Like you never know where people are coming from.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and to have that too is so helpful. And probably you seem like you're intentional and you think about this, right? Right. If somebody doesn't necessarily pay attention to you in the way that you thought it might, or thought they might, you don't want to get your feelings hurt, so you just can't. That's the
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You kind of just take yourself out of the equation.
Yeah. Well, I think too, I want to make sure that I ask you, what kind of projects are you interested in working on? I want to make sure I know how to find you on LinkedIn, and I know that I can look up your portfolio and access more from there. However, do you want to go into a certain area, genre, style? Is that something, or do you not want to say that?
No, absolutely. I love this. So I have such my heart is so in independent filmmaking.
Mhm.
So like just smaller budgets, indie filmmakers like coming together, collaborating, being creative, where everyone is kind of like everyone's like all hands on deck. Like the writer is also excited to be part of like the costume creation or the set design, and the producer is also not like not shy from doing some like work. Like they pick up a broom and they're like sweeping the set and they're not like too good for anything. Like just
Mhm.
those types of teams and productions that just truly want to create something unique. It's a vision coming together. It's a bunch of artists working together to create something. No one is there because they want to make a certain amount of money. No one's there because they want to be famous. No one's there because they want to win a specific type of award. It's literally just like people coming together and doing something that they love. And I see that totally in the realm of like indie films.
Right. Now, what about independent marketing? Since we are all in the business of marketing ourselves, do you think in the independent market, you have somebody who it is making the film and marketing the film, and like you said, could possibly want to, or it needs to be a part of, say, costume design. So you have in that situation the ability to share behind the scenes stuff, which is one of the things that experts tell me is one of the best ways to get attention, with your, not get attention, but share yourself in a way that is genuine, that can create genuine attention. Some people are curious. What are you like without your makeup on? What are you like in the production side of things? And how many hours do you really work every day? So, what do you think it's easier to share some of that stuff if you're on an independent film?
That's interesting. I actually that brings up a really great perspective of now I'm curious if the indie film space is set up for success in that way, even more so than a large budget, gigantic film attached to like some huge name or company. Just
Mm,
because I feel like larger, like the bigger the film, the quieter everything has to be,
mm,
controlled. Everything has to be. It can't just be sharing with an audience. It has to be this
mm,
fully calculated strategy, like months in advance. Here's how we're going to roll out the behind the scenes stuff. Here's what it's going to look like. It's going to be cut in this way. It's going to be like another like mini feature movie, basically just the behind the scenes. And then it's going to be sold at this, price to da da da.
mhm.
So I think you're right about like imagining the indie space being a little bit more naturally or just organically vulnerable and raw in a way that maybe larger productions can't really afford to be that way. It's just like too much paperwork, too much threat is like in
Yeah.
a place where people are just maybe don't feel like they can share things. Um, it reminds me of when I maybe will follow someone on Instagram, maybe from like a whatever it is, I don't know, like a director or producer or an actress or whoever it is, and they'll like their behind the scenes stuff is usually like in their makeup chair, right? And they're just like taking kind of maybe like a self.
Yeah.
It's like on some type of contract, selfies in the makeup chair are allowed, and you know what
Right.
I mean? 'Cause I feel like I see that all the time. But I love this idea of super raw, like dressed down kind of vulnerability when it comes to indie films and people coming together and creating, and not just kind of here's the scene we were kind of putting together, here's a shot of the set, but more kind of, I think, where you're getting at, where it's really, really, really taken back to like no makeup in the writer's room or in like creating a costume and something crazy happens with the costume and like the costume designer is like crying and they like want to share that story.
Yeah.
This was a really bad day for me, but this is what I learned. Um, I like that idea. I think there's definitely room for that kind of vulnerability, especially within today's landscapes.
I immediately, a costume designer who is having a tough day, and what do they do about that? One of my aunts is a batik artist, and she deals with fabrics all the time, and I couldn't imagine what it would be like to put an entire outfit together or so, or whatever it is that you have to do to put this creation together, and then it doesn't fit or it won't stay together. And yeah, that would be terrifying. I don't, and you
Absolutely. Gosh, yeah, they're like, this is like the one job. Like, this is like,
yes,
they gave me one thing to do. And
right.
it's not fitting. Yeah, I can't even imagine that type of pressure and stress and the full-on emotional breakdown that would come from really feeling like you failed the thing that you are there to do. That's a big gut punch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and you have if let's say that I'm kind of going off in left field here, but yeah, you have creative control to frame that person. For example, this is the type of thing that could be a scene in a reality show for the purpose of showing that person as weak, or they couldn't hack it or something, and you have the opportunity to bring that person into the scene as I'm sharing this with you on purpose to show you how much I care. And there's so many ways you could do that. So if you're on a set of a few people, I could probably do that. Anyway, so what about and by the way, I think that that time is over. I think the episode here is over. But what one I have to figure out, what's my last question going to be, because I think what I wanted to ask you was I know that I'm going to tag you on LinkedIn, and I know that you will be able to see this whole interview on YouTube, and the traditional clips are on LinkedIn or Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. However, how do I hire you? Do I contact you directly? How do I do that?
Yeah, you know, I tend to direct people towards my LinkedIn or Instagram just because all of my information is there and I'm typically within those two platforms on a daily basis.
Hmm.
Um, they're also connected to like easy access where I can just like go in and send someone an email, share some more like personal contact info where they can like transfer over to that like email space. It's a little bit more personal versus like LinkedIn messaging. So my Instagram handle is currently Tiffany Smith, and because that's somewhat of a common name,
Hmm.
if people are able to kind of tag on creativity, which is CREATIFFITY, that's kind of how you find me in a really easy way. But that's just on Instagram. Um, LinkedIn, you can find me, but again, I do have a very common name, so it's not super easy to get to me. But I would say that Instagram handle is probably like the absolute quickest way to like see it right away.
At Creativity. That's good.
Yeah, it's like at like Tiffany Smith creativity. Yeah, so it's
Uh-huh.
a little bit of like a tag on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that URL, your will be, or not, that's not a URL, but your handle will be on the screen then, so we can put that on the video. Well,
Perfect.
yeah, I know that I could talk with you all day about what's going on tonight at the networking event.
Yeah,
Maybe you could FaceTime me and I'll come with you.
absolutely. Yes. Oh my God, I can have you on my phone. I can like, oh.
Well, if you see anybody that you absolutely have to talk to, then you can tell them you can invite them to a podcast interview and set up an appointment, and then you can learn everything you want from them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm such a fan of podcasts, and I know that it just brings this other type of connection with people that we didn't really have before, where it was again a little bit more controlled and big kind of money attachment. But because we have like the beauty of current technology, we're all able to share our stories and connect with each other. It's really cool.
That's right. And now, thank you for saying that. I remember my last question I wanted to ask you. As a professional short filmmaker, I have an iPhone, kind of one of the newer generations, not the newest one. Can I make a movie on my phone and it be, quality that's okay to show to somebody as an example of my vision?
I fully believe so, yes. And I don't know if you're aware of this. This is something that just came to my attention recently, but I believe it's iPhone 16 Pro that has the ability to shoot raw photography. And then you can kind of go into like Lightroom or Photoshop and you can work with like an actual raw image and do all the fun post work. But on top of that, especially when you're kind of looking at this short film, production, you can use the advanced kind of nature of the current iPhone, but you can also, I think, purchase these like lens attachments. So you can get these like super crazy zoom lenses and like fisheye lenses and tilt shift lenses and macro lenses and all of these lenses like I think you can purchase them as a pack on Amazon for like $25 and you just attach them to your iPhone and you can just create like a whole world just like with an
Yeah.
iPhone, yeah. And I believe recently, and I'm totally failing to remember the name of this film, but someone recently like fully filmed their entire piece with an iPhone. And it's like
Okay.
huge. I don't know how popular it is, but it's like popular enough that I believe that it's been getting a lot of attention. And of course I don't remember the name of it.
Right. That's okay.
But if I know someone who is very aware of this film, and if I remember to ask her, I will get you the name of that film because it's shot completely on iPhone.
Yeah, I would like to know. I'm going to probably go search for that now and
Yeah.
let's see what happens. But okay.
ChatGPT, what movie is that? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'm glad I did, you know what? That is really good advice. It's to
Yeah.
play around with it.
Yes. Yeah. If you're like just wanting to be creative and you have your access to like your iPhone is now like a legit camera now. Like it's spoken about now in the industry as like a legitimate camera to work with. So the accessories and the pieces that you can add into that type of production are endless. So yeah, I encourage it completely if you want to just like start creating some fun behind the scenes stuff with your podcast or just stuff that you want to create.
Okay. Well, there, the pros, I have permission. You gave
Yes,
me permission. Tiffany said I could.
absolutely. Absolutely. I encourage it.
Okay, well, you know what? So, Tiffany Smith, thank you so much for coming to the podcast, the Dear Business Coach podcast. And I will talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative. Really. This is awesome. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, all right. I'd love to talk to you again soon. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Dear Business Coach podcast. My name's Elizabeth Walker, producer and host. Don't forget to subscribe to email. Thank you so much for being here and find one thing today to move your business forward. Contact me at dearbusinesscoachpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, you are a superstar.